All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's about 4:10 on Wednesday, the 4th of April. After a little bit of a delay, back over to the garage to continue work on stripping some paint underneath. I did stop by a local auto body shop today and got some advice from them and places to go to get supplies. And they offered to come back anytime if I had any questions, so that was good and rewarding. Real quick, I wanted to go over some of the stuff that I've been using to strip the paint off the bottom of the car. So I initially started, these are knockoff 3M roll lock discs. There's like little screw here thing that'll go on your 2-inch angle grinder like this, and it's a quick release. It just unscrews. I'm not going to be able to do it one-handed probably. Yeah, there we go. Just unscrews real quick, very fast, very easy to use, and just a little guy threaded in there. They work pretty well. They don't hold up great, but they're not too bad. Also have sandpaper discs. These are way aggressive. I don't use these for stripping paint. This would be more for a metal. I also got roll lock discs, little mini roll lock discs, or flap discs, I mean. I have not liked these. I have not been impressed with these. They don't hold up real well, and for whatever reason, they don't stay on the 2-inch angle grinder very well on the fitting there. And they get eat up pretty fast. So for real tight spots, they're okay, but I'm using like one per job. Something I am excited to use, these are real no Kidden 3M roll lock bristle discs. There's various grits for these depending on the color. These are the green ones. These things are not cheap. They're about 10 bucks a pop. So I bought a pair. Obviously, we'll see how these go, but I'm excited to use these because they're flexible, so we'll see if they work out for me or not. Hopefully that was worth it. Another new acquisition here, these are little paint scraper discs, stripper discs, the little 2-inch guys. I haven't used these. I've never tried to use these. Again, these are knockoffs, Chinese probably, so I don't know how well they're going to hold up, but I'm looking forward to using them to getting into the tighter spots. This is the larger stripper discs that I use on the 4.5-inch angle grinder. I originally got these at Harbor Freight. I got these at Amazon. I'll put links in the descriptions to all these things. Got all this stuff on Amazon. These things have been really good. I haven't had any problems with them clogging up. If you go and hit in seam sealer or something like that, you're going to have those problems. But they take paint out pretty rapidly, and they don't destroy the paint or the metal, and they don't really heat the metal up at all. So you don't have to worry about warpage or anything. So I've been really happy. I haven't used this particular brand, but I've been really happy the way these things have worked, especially for just straight up removing paint in an easily accessible area. And then this guy again that I've been happy with for the job that it's done for me. I showed you guys this the other video or two ago, so that's worked out pretty well. More work on the bottom. Like I said, hopefully I can get all the paint stripped out of there today. I may or may not get the welding if the paint stripping gets on my nerves. It is a tedious and time-consuming task, like I've already said. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll keep you informed. All right, so I used the 3M green wheel, this guy here, and it worked pretty well. It didn't hold up quite as well as I would have hoped, though, for 10 bucks at a pop. So you can see the new one versus the old one there. Whoop, if you can actually keep it on camera. See the profile of them, hopefully here. So here, let me try this. So you can see the difference in the profile. So not as good as I was hoping, but then again, it may not necessarily be designed to do this extreme. The little purple guys, they're working pretty well. This is gumming up pretty good, unfortunately. Again, a little bit more than I experienced with the larger ones, but that's working pretty well. I wanted to show you real quick how I'm getting this seam sealer out of here. So this is a real pain in the rear to get this seam sealer out of all the nooks and crannies. You can see it's kind of gummed up there. Experience the same thing on the other side. What I'm doing is I'm taking a heat gun here, just a regular old cheapo Harbor Freight heat gun, and one of these brass or metal, it looks brass, but it's not. Metal wire brushes, but they're a nice low profile but long, and essentially with one hand holding the heat gun up and the other hand just going back and forth with the wire brush, and it's working pretty well. This whole portion down here on that seam here looked at least like that. So the heat obviously melts it and loosens it up and everything, and the wire brush takes it off, and it's not really gumming it up because it's not taking too much. So that's, you know, that's a real pain, but it's effective. And I'm going to get under here with this wire brush too in the same way. Found another couple little rust spots under there. I know you really can't see that. So obviously still some preservation work to do. Those spots right there are the other ones that I showed you before. So still some welding to do, but you know, moving along. All right, did some more work on the underside here. Again, little steps. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit and start welding. So I got a bunch of holes that I put in, like that guy there, for the set screws, the sheet metal screws, when I put the strengtheners in, cross members. I'm gonna run a bead from underneath here along where the floor comes in. If you remember, I couldn't quite get the floor to match the original portion, the new floor, so I beat from this side to try and get the old portion to match up as close as possible. For the driver's side, I already have a bead on the inside, so I don't really intend on welding from this side. I'll just seam seal it and work on that a little bit, and then look at these back pieces that I have to fix the spot welds where they're rusting out. Take a look at them a little closer. So that's where I'm going for now. And also putting in the front cap here. This portion here isn't welding in at all, and a little bit more welding here between the lower A post and the cap, the sill cap there as well. And finally, I keep saying and, this guy here to come into the floorboard, much like I did on the other side. So so that's a plan ahead for at least the next little while, so we'll see how it goes. Got that welder set relatively low because I'm not really trying to have any penetration here at first. I'm just going to weld up all the little holes and everything that I have left over from the set screws. I keep saying that, sheet metal screws. Alright, I think I got all of them. And I think I'll start working on the bead here. This is kind of a lap weld here, so I'm going to crank up the metal supply and the amperage a little bit. Alright, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Good enough for government work at least, and I didn't run out of gas. So I'll grind that down here in a little bit, get that cleaned up. Not real happy with it here, but it's good enough. I got a little hole in the boot floor here. I'll show you this. I gotta look at it from the other side too. This was not my fault, but due to corrosion, I guess, so I got to look at it from the other side here. But let me get you that little guy right here, obviously not the huge hole to the right, but that little guy on the inside. So I'm going to look at it from the inside here and make sure I don't have any other problems that I can weld up, and then close that hole up. All right, so again, for this guy here, based on what I'm looking at from the inside, you can see that that's quite a bit of a of a depression in there. Quite a little bit of that is eaten away. So if you can kind of see this dark outline here, I got some of the other side. That was a sound deadening material, and water or something must have got under there and just sat and ate away. So based on the size of that, I'm not going to just tack it in, because one, I'll probably blow through it, and two, it's a little too big for me to want to try to fill that in. So I'm going to drill that out and cut a little itty bitty piece to fit, hopefully, and use a magnet to hold it in, and then just tack that guy in. All right, so based on the way that this hole looks, I'm going to use the step drill and just drill it out relatively evenly. No real reason to do this, except if I take the grinding wheel to it to cut this little section out, I'm going to end up with a much bigger hole than I really want. So this is kind of an easy way to do that. Alright, so that's about, I don't know, about 7/16 or so I think I drilled out. Let's see what it looks like from the other side. Alright, that's pretty much all of that pit is gone now. So I'll just, I'll make a little circular piece, clean it up, make a little circular piece, and weld that in. Alright, there's the circle cut out. Only took a second or two to cut that really and fit it. Little magnet behind there to hold it in while I weld it. So I'm just going to touch the welder on it, get it tacked in, go around the periphery of it where you see all the crease, and then grind it smooth. Alright, there it is done. Just going to go to town here. Grinding. Alright, that's not too bad. A couple pinholes. One right there. I'll show you that little mini flap disc here. Now you watch, since I badmouthed it, it'll probably hold up just fine. Or it's going to go flying across the garage at about 20,000 RPM. Try to tighten it down here. See what happens. Get in this little area here. Yep, held up alright. The sandpaper just doesn't hold on to the backing paper very well, that's all. So it goes pretty fast. Move up to the front sill cap and see if I can approach that the same way I approached the other side. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to approach this the same way. I got a screwdriver in here. I'm just going to pry this back a little bit and do about 4 holes through, and then I'll do 2 or 3 holes for set screws. Get them screwed down and tight, and then go back and fill those holes. Alright, so then I'm going to put a little set screw here and probably one here and clamp those two together. Alright, so I got a small drill bit here and slightly larger diameter set screws. Keep saying set screws, sheet metal screws I should say. I'm going to put one here and one here close to this hole. Going all the way through these, you want your sheet metal screw to be, or your drill bit to be a little bit smaller than your sheet metal screw so it can bite on something. So we'll take care of this real quick. Alright, I ran a hacksaw blade through the space in between here because I had some metal shavings from the drill bit. So that was thin enough to get in there and get those shavings out of there. So having a pretty small hole as compared to the sheet metal screw makes it a little bit painful to get your sheet metal screw started. But once you do, and it grabs, it's worth it. And once it kind of gets several threads in, it kind of self-taps there, and it becomes much easier. So I try to alternate tightening these like you would lug nuts on a car, because I don't want to put so much pressure on one of these screws that it snaps. I already snapped one of them, if you remember, in my support on the other side. I don't want that to happen again. So. Alright, so they're pretty snug up. and pretty tight metal to metal here for the welds, which is what's important. And I don't really have any cleaning up to do. It looks like I didn't really paint under there, probably as well as I should have. That's kind of unfortunate. Little bit of a gap, but that will be filled with seam sealer when I get to that point. So that's ready to weld in now, so I'm going to knock that out real quick. You may notice that I keep my safety goggles on while I'm welding. One time a spark got up and into my helmet. Didn't cause any damage, but it jumped around in there a little bit. And never again will I not wear safety glasses while welding. So, important safety tip, I guess you could say. Alright, so those are tight, or welded I should say. Go ahead and pull those set screws back out. And again, I say set screw when I mean sheet metal screw. So now I'll fill those holes in, and because I'm not trying to weld pieces of metal together here, really, I'm just filling holes. I put the welder back down a little bit. I'm going to clean up around them first, just so I don't get any slag. Alright, that'll give me a relatively clean hole to weld to, so I don't have to worry about it spitting and popping on me from the nastiness. Alright, there's that. Alright, so got this welded in and cleaned up. Got this piece welded in from under the bottom there, if you can see that. Probably not very well. Got that kind of cleaned up. Still got some big holes where I originally tried to weld that bracket in. Undid those. Started grinding these down a little bit. Then I looked at this, and hold on a second. This is the bracket that I had taken off a while ago and welded back in. Well, I didn't do a very good job. So you can see here that it's not attached too well at the bottom. It's not attached to the top. So this is the only weld on this side holding it in. I never did weld this back in anyway. At the bottom here it's a little better only because I ran beads. So this is also the one, if you remember, I had to drill the hole out a little bit. So my intention here is to get this thing back off. Probably cut the one and steel it from the black car, and then weld the black cars on here, but have to land the body on the frame again. So I'm not looking forward to that, but that's my intention. Alright, about 8:30 and I am going to be out of here for the evening. So not a bad night. I got the bead all in on the floor pan there. Obviously forgot to grind that spot. Oops. Got all the little holes from the cross members filled in. Got this hole filled in back here. Pretty happy with the way that that came out. Got the front sill cap over here welded in. Got these two pieces welded together. So that's all in there. And then I got this bracket off. Unfortunately, beating the heck out of the firewall again, just like I did when I took it off the first time. So I think my intention here is to hack this section out of the black car and bring that bracket over here and then see how it kind of aligns. And again, like I said, unfortunately, getting the body back on the frame, that'll be a several hour event to do that. But there you go. So hopefully here sometime in the next week or so, I'll determine what I'm going to do about paint and get some good advice from the paint supply house that I was told about earlier today when I went to that body shop. So otherwise, thanks for subscribing, thanks for liking, and thanks for commenting. Real good comments still coming out, especially now that paint is kind of my thing. I'm getting a lot of advice, especially on my favorite form. So that's great. I'm learning a lot. So thanks again. And please visit the website, www.roundtailrestoration.com. Again, I appreciate all the views and all the support and everything that I get from you guys. It's really great to have a tight community like we do. So have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you guys this weekend. Cheers.